All right, you guys, it is E3 season, so you know all kinds of cool activities are going on right now. And as we edge closer and closer to all of the big video game announcements, we've got to start talking with some of the people that are going to be talking about some of their cool announcements. And today we have a great, very special guest on the show. You know him as a former EP member and host of the show. He was my colleague reviewing many, many video games. He started Video Games Live, which is still currently touring around the world. And now he is the president of the brand new Intellivision, and he's got a console coming out in 2020. I can't believe I'm introducing Tommy as the president of a video game company. That's incredible. Good to see you, Tommy.
Right? Yo, hey.
That's awesome, brother.
Got a live audience over there.
Hey, and we all have to give Tommy a very special a bit of gratitude because it's Memorial Day, and happy Memorial Day in the U.S. So he's on holiday, and he came away from the pool to come and be with everybody here today. So thank you.
Actually, 2 weeks before E3, there's no vacation time.
Oh, it's true, right? That's true. How are you feeling? Are you feeling pumped? Is everything coming together the way you want it to?
Positive. Everything's super positive. You know, it's been. Here we are creating a video game console from scratch, and for the last year, really, being heavily into it. A huge, amazing team of people, but now it's all kind of coming together. Lots of challenges, again, doing it for the first time, and especially the way we're doing it. We're doing it in a way that's, the controller that we have and things that we have never been done before. So, there's always roadblocks, but when you have an amazing AAA team, we actually added it up. The people on our core team in our office working on the system is 600 years of video game experience, and none of them are slouches. They're all AAA folks, 600 years worth. So, you encounter things along the way here and there, at least once or twice a week. There's something like, oh my gosh, holy crap, we got to find a way around this. And again, when you have the great people around you, there's always a way from a hardware standpoint. But then there's the software, and that's the thing, right? I could talk till I'm blue in the face about how great the system's going to be and how it's going to bring families and friends back together, couch co-op, local multiplayer, get people communicating, people of all ages, and kind of like what the Wii did 13 years ago. Let's pick up where they left off. I could talk till I'm blue in the face about that, but at the end of the day, are the games fun to play? And we just have some incredible, and that's the most exciting part, is that, I've been on enough great teams in my 30-year career to know when a game is great, because everybody's sitting around the office and we can't get any work done because we're playing it. Well, that's kind of what we have, and I can't wait to show it to you at E3.
So that's really the story for Intellivision this year at the show, because we know about the hardware. We've seen some of the prototyping and some of the stuff that you guys have been working on with Amico. But this is the big reveal of games this year at E3. Are they going to be playable on Amico hardware, or is it going to be yes? So you'll have the Amico controllers and the whole system will be there. And then how many games are you guys planning to show off?
I can't tell you.
Oh,
because I've been. We're showing the system behind closed doors, right? Because we're still a year and a half away.
Sure.
And the reality is, next E3 is going to be the big reveal with, on stage. Because honestly, Vic, like the stuff that we have revealed from a technology standpoint is only half. It's only half of the things that we put in that press release. It's really only half. There's so many incredible, earth-shattering, industry-changing things that we haven't talked about yet.
I think that's one of the interesting things about this product, because I mean, you've told me a little bit about the hardware that's in this thing, and I don't know what the specs are, but you've been playing coy with the horsepower of this machine. You've got some.
I will tell you this. I mean, the system's not about horsepower. You know,
Yeah.
we don't have $1 billion. We're not going to be competing with Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, now Google. We're not going to be competing with those folks with horsepower, but we will compete with them in ideas. You
Right.
know, a lot of those companies, they're very big companies, amazing companies, incredible products. You know, I love them all. But we're doing something completely different that's been missing and lacking in the industry. Our focus on, can we get an 8-year-old girl to play with a 30-year-old hardcore gamer and for her to beat him? Or her, right? Can we get a grandfather and a grandson together to play a game
Right.
and they're both laughing and having fun? Can we get a group of people all our age, who half of which never play video games? Can we get them in a room
Right.
playing together and laughing and having fun? Look, we're not creating the next Red Dead 2,
Yeah.
nor do we want to. We're talking about fun games that have never been done before. The way we're designing every single game that I'll be, because I want to show you behind closed doors. I need to get you excited as I am. But every single game that we're creating for the system, and I'm serious when I say this, cannot be done on any other system.
That's cool.
So, and it's not necessarily because of the horsepower, not at all. It's because of the way the games are being designed with a group of people, with controllers that have color touch screens and some of the other stuff that I can't even talk about. The controller and the way people interact with the system has never been done before. So that's kind of the fun thing that you're going to experience, at E3, and you'll be like, holy crap, now I get it now.
Is the whole Intellivision presence going to be behind closed doors, or are you
Yes.
going to show off anything
No.
on the floor? No.
No,
Okay.
it's all because most of the meetings that we have at E3 are with retailers. You know, the Walmarts, the Best Buys, the Amazons. They are all super, super excited about, this isn't a Kickstarter project. It's not
Right.
an Indiegogo campaign.
Right,
We're
right.
not like, selling direct from some third-party website or whatever. This is a real deal. It's going in every major retailer. In fact, Toys R Us Canada, they're coming to see us. Everybody's super excited because it's a console that's a little less expensive than, half of expensive, more
Yeah.
than half.
Yeah.
The price of all the others, but it's about families. So you take a thing like Walmart, Best Buy, these are places where families go to shop, so the retailers are very, very excited about what we're doing.
Let's play devil's advocate here.
Sure.
I know the reason why you're doing this, and I can tell you that I share a lot of the same kind of viewpoints on the value of bringing a family to your game. And I came into video games that same way. Like, my mom was there when we were playing on the Atari 2600 and the ColecoVision. I didn't have the Intellivision. I'm sorry, buddy. But I know you were always the Intellivision guy. I was the Atari guy.
That's right. See, even back then, 40 years ago, we were still, if we would have known each other as kids, we still would have been fighting and reviewing games together.
It's hilarious. But I have fond memories of my mom watching the games and wanting to take the controller. And I remember showing my grandmother Smurfs on the ColecoVision.
On the ColecoVision,
and she was like, wow, this is so fun, and we just don't do that with video games anymore.
Your mom's not playing Super Smash Brothers.
Well, that's what I want to play devil's advocate a little bit here, because the Switch, I think, is probably the closest to that demo shrinking. It's probably the one where parents and kids are playing, maybe since the Wii, the most. And so what does the Switch not do that Intellivision Amico will do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, the Wii sold 102 million consoles. It generated $50 billion in revenue.
Just on the consoles.
It was the third biggest selling home console of all time.
Wow.
The Switch is tapped out. The Switch is at about 40 million consoles now. So, but it's starting to slow. It's starting, you see the numbers that came out last month. Nintendo stock prices went down. They didn't hit the things they were going to. So, so here's the thing: is that the Switch is not going to sell 102 million consoles. It's not going to do what the Wii did. Here's the thing to consider. If there are 200 million hardcore gamers in the world, okay? If you add up PlayStation 4, Xbox, separate, PlayStation 4 owners, Xbox owners, Switch owners, and then you add in their PC and Mac, that's 200 million people who consider themselves hardcore gamers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's 3 billion people that play mobile games every day.
Yeah.
Okay? And so our thing is, Nintendo, for the most part, still goes for those hardcore gamers. Nintendo does what they do great, right? They, when the Wii came out, keep in mind that they went right back to their wheelhouse when the Wii came out, right? They went to Smash Brothers and Pikmin and Mario and Metroid and Zelda and Pokemon. That's what they're great at, right? That's what they're best at. And if you look at their history, they only started to get into the mobile casual space only a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
Very, very late. And the reason for that is that Nintendo isn't focused on casual gamers. Nintendo, the great company that they are focused on the Nintendo people who grew up in the 80s and 90s, and they admit it.
Well, they made us gamers, and they want to stay with that audience, and they want to respect that audience. But they are making more money off of their mobile stuff than they are their console stuff, and they could keep turning those widgets and.
And what does that tell you, right? But the reality is this: is that if you think about the Switch, it's not targeted to grandparents, is it?
Right.
And when you turn the Switch on, if you were to buy a Switch for a non-gamer, somebody who's never played a game before, and you buy them a Switch and have them take it out of the box and hook it up and then go into this and go into that and go into the setting, it's a much different experience. It's not what the Wii was being sold to nursing homes, right?
Yeah.
My mom bought a Wii. She's 78 years old now, right? She bought 2 video game consoles her whole life. Christmas of 1980, she bought an Intellivision, and Christmas of 2006, she bought herself a Wii.
Right.
We're not seeing that same thing. It's not. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Switch. My God, Zelda Breath of the Wild. Are you kidding me? It was unbelievable, right? But my mom's not playing Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Right.
She's not playing. She's not playing Zelda. She's not playing Pokemon. She's not playing Smash Brothers. And even if you look at Mario Kart, that's become a difficult game now for somebody who's never played a video game.
Right.
So that's the big differentiator, is that the Switch, if you compare the Wii to the Switch, they're 2 very different machines with 2 very different customers.
Well,
right?
let's go down this for a second here, because the Wii, as successful a machine as it was, had a tough time getting traction with publishers.
That's
because
right.
They were playing in the traditional console space.
That's right.
And people were buying it, but they never really wanted to buy another game other than Wii Sports. That was the pack-in game with the machine.
And that's because Nintendo didn't really go for that audience. People, and I know a lot of folks who worked at Nintendo during that time. Well, a lot of them work for us now, but they were telling the Japanese offices, please, nursing homes are buying this. Let's do card games. Let's do shuffleboard. Let's do, pool and darts and croquet. Let's do those type of games. And Nintendo is like, look, it's not what we do. That's not what we do.
Right.
And then when the companies, all the third-party companies, are trying to do, kind of gimmicky, motion control games that were basically a bunch of shovelware, so the companies,
which we reviewed.
Well, a lot of which we reviewed, Chicken Shoot. So that's my point, though, is that, never in the entire video game industry have casual gamers been targeted for a home video game console.
Except back in the 80s when when it was a lot of backgammon and circus and combat
because there was no such thing as a gamer when we were growing up.
Yeah.
It was a different time, and
so
that's what we're bringing back.
Do you take inspiration then from the console like the diehard gamers out there that are incredibly skeptical? Do you does that kind of fuel you?
I mean, here's the thing: is that the console isn't targeted for them, right? Again, 200 million hardcore gamers, 3 billion casual gamers, right? Now, that's not to say that because all of us in the office are all hardcore gamers. All of us in the office have literally worked on the greatest video games of our generation, right? So we know what makes a great game, and we're all hardcore gamers. And I got to tell you, there's a whole bunch of games that we love as well too. So I think, look, I don't think that the Amico is going to replace somebody getting a PlayStation 5, a hardcore gamer, right?
Okay.
A hardcore
so we're not making that prediction today.
not for the hardcore gamers. For those 200 million, they're not going to go, you know what, I'm going to buy an Amico instead of the next Xbox. That's not going to happen. We're not there to replace that.
Right.
For those 200 million hardcores. But what we're doing is we're going to come in and we're going to be an additional thing, because when their non-gaming girlfriends come over, or when their non-gaming family members come over, or when their 10-year-old niece comes over, they're not playing Xbox hardcore gamers with those people because they can't, because of the way the controls are set up, because of, and again, I'm generalizing, but I'm saying, the majority of,
Well, it's interesting because I know that you and me and everybody that basically was inspired by the 1980s of video games to get into this industry have done everything that we can to bang the drum to get more people to care about games and to come in and play. But
and for 12 years when me and you were reviewing games on the show, what was the one thing that I would always keep saying, even back then 20 years ago, was it's too complicated. Make the controls easier. My dad can't play this game. It's too hard to understand. So it's kind of, I've been squabbling about this for 2 decades.
Yeah. Well, and I think you've got a terrific point. I mean, I think that there's a reason why mobile games have really hit a sweet spot. There's a lot of insidious stuff with the microtransactions and things like that embedded into a lot of software there, but there is something really tangible and really accessible about just being able to escape for a few minutes.
And as accessible as mobile is, it also has, from a gamer standpoint, it has 4 major flaws as well.
Yeah.
I'll quickly go through them. One, you mentioned it, in-app purchases, right? This has gotten to, and I know how much you hate it all, right? It's gotten so, if you don't give them your email address or your friends list on Facebook or your credit card, then you're going to get a 30-second ad every 3 minutes. And that's the way it's set up. Too bad if you don't like it, right? And that's become what casual mobile games is. So that sucks. So we don't have any of that on our console. No in-app purchases, no downloadable content. You buy a game once, you keep it forever. You don't need to be connected. It's not going to go on some store that's going to shut down like Ouya just did this week.
Right.
So there's that, right? So that's one thing. Second thing, as a controller, for a video gamer, it's not really that great. I mean, it's nice if you want to swipe something or you want to tilt a ball into the hole.
I was playing on the plane while I was watching a show because we're all multitasking now. I was playing a game that you might want to check out on mobile. It's called Balls.
Oh, Balls is something.
Yeah, I know you love balls.
I like to have.
You should check it out.
All right, I got a lot of them. I got, and so there's the thing is that even a simple game like Pac-Man, which is up, down, left, right. Try to play it on a mobile device. It's unplayable. Right?
I tried to play because I've been playing Shakedown Hawaii, the amazing game that Brian Provinciano made, and he also made Retro City Rampage.
Nice Italian boy,
He's a great dude. I started to play Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars on my phone, and I couldn't play it. It was unfrickin' playable on the touch screen.
So that's the second thing. So the controls aren't great. Third thing is there's zero curation at all.
Yes.
I mean, 1,000 new games come out every week and by the way, we're seeing the same thing happen on the Switch.
Yep.
I mean, I booted up the Switch this weekend.
Yes.
There was a game for 49 cents
next
to a game for like $60. I'm
I know.
how are you And Nintendo wants to put 1,000 games a year on the Switch. Why is quality?
Trust me, I would love some more reviewers on the team to get to half of these games, because every time I turn on the Switch, it's a million new games. It totally has become Steam. It's incredible.
And that's a bad thing. I honestly think because it's bad for the developers who are trying to there's some amazing stuff on these consoles that no one ever sees.
Yes.
Because there's just so much of it, and the prices are all over the place. So I don't understand where the industry why people think that quantity is better than quality.
Well, I know one of the things that has happened. I mean, there's been, and I talk about this in the reviews quite often, is that there's been a move away from AA as like an industry sort of standard, where publishers were actually paying for smaller teams, which is now like 40 people or 50 people to make them. They don't make those games anymore, and so indie has filled that in. And they're just trying to scramble, while the huge hardware companies are just sort of saying, well, good, those people will pay for their own games, and some of them will be a hit, we'll let them publish on our platforms, but they're not really taking control of the curation. Now, there is another system that just was announced last week, and I don't know if you heard anything about Playdate, the little handheld where you could wind up.
The crank it.
Yeah, and it got a lot of press, a lot of buzz, and does that fill you with some? Is that a little more jet fuel for Intellivision?
I don't. I think that's a system for a hardcore gamer. So it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't. I don't think my mom's going to be playing, cranking a thing to go backwards.
Well, they are all about curation, and they're all about creating
they release
something.
A game once a week. Yeah, I love that. That's a great concept.
So people are tapping into this. Sorry.
I want to tell you the final fourth thing, and this is the most important about mobile.
Yeah.
And the difference between what we're doing in mobile is, what is mobile? It's this.
Yeah.
It's solitary.
Yeah.
It's somebody with a screen buried in the console. And technology in the family has split families apart. Technology is seen as a negative thing. Parents always telling their kids, get off your phone, get off Facebook, get off Instagram, get off the YouTube, get off your video game. You're messaging, you're texting your brother, and he's messaging him, and he's sitting on the couch right next to you. So when television doing is we're using technology to bring families back together.
Wow.
That's what we're doing, getting people in a room like we used to do board night, right? Board games have absolutely exploded over the last 5 years. Do you know that every year the board game industry has gone up 40% over the last 4 or 5 years? It's now the number one thing on Kickstarter right now, the number one thing. So why is this? Because no one can play video games together anymore. Yeah. What are you going to buy a PlayStation for $400, an extra controller? There's 60 to 80 bucks. And then you want to play 4 players together. Okay, there's another 60, Now you've spent over $600. Now go find a 4-player game for the PlayStation
that you can all play on one TV. Yeah, exactly.
And the other big thing to remember
every game that you guys are releasing has multiplayer, right?
Every one. You can't put it on this system. And they all have single player as well, too, though.
Right, and the machine comes with 2 controllers. And and how much are the controllers going to cost? Have you announced that yet?
You mean for additional controllers?
Yeah.
We haven't announced that yet, but I can tell you it's going to be about half the price of all the others, and they're pretty amazing. But you can also hook up to 8 mobile devices right out of the box to the things. Now, you remember you heard me say, but Tommy, you just were complaining about how the mobile isn't a great controller. Well, we have something that I'm going to show you at E3 behind closed doors. We're not announcing it for another year yet.
Okay.
But let's just say we got that taken care of.
Awesome. Okay, well, I want to say congratulations on the Earthworm Jim 3 announcement. Yeah. What was the response like to that? And is that going to be a launch game with Intellivision Amico?
It's not going to be a launch game because we're taking our time with it, and we don't want to take away from all of the, we have so many, we have another major launch title that's might I'd say maybe even bigger than Earthworm Jim that we haven't announced yet.
It's Tron. It's Tron.
No.
It's
Well,
Tron.
we're
Everyone,
getting that,
Tommy's announced it's Tron. Tron!
we're
No?
getting that. We're getting that too, but that's not
Okay,
the one.
all right.
You're gonna see it at E3, and you're gonna crap yourself. I'll tell you this.
So
I will
bring
show you at
diapers to
E3.
E3.
But,
Noted.
But the thing, yeah, I mean, the announcement was amazing. It went worldwide. We got 526 million views.
Impressions? Wow.
Impressions
Oh, wow.
around the world. We never realized how big the game was in Russia. Like, we were seeing all this Russia stuff coming in, like, wow.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, this is a perfect example, see, of kind of miscommunication and people not kind of understanding what we're doing. A lot of the negative stories that came out were talking about, oh, Earthworm Jim, exclusive on the Amico, what bunch of crap, blah, 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 blah. Why didn't they put on these stupid people don't know what they're doing, stupid developers. Oh, we can't
And
wait
it's the original team.
we can't wait for the Intellivision to go out of business, so then they'll port it to all our other systems. And basically what people are forgetting to understand is that the game that the Earthworm Jim team wanted to do, we didn't want to do another platform game 25 years later.
Yeah.
That's not what that's what we did 25 years ago, because that's what we did a lot of different things in a platform game that no one had ever done before, right?
Yep.
The whole cartoon animations and all that stuff that we were doing, hand-drawn animations, the gameplay elements, the different, how you could switch. We did a bunch of different stuff that no one had done before. We're not interested 25 years later to just do another platform game. What we're doing is we're in the middle of designing a game that can only be played on the Intellivision Amico, and because of the way a bunch of people in a room, everyone with a screen. And again, off the record, I'm going to tell you a couple of the ideas, and you're going to be like,
no one's
oh
listening.
God.
It's good. Nobody, just you and me on this Skype call.
I'll
off
tell
the
you
record.
E3. I'll tell you
Oh,
E3.
okay. Oh, shit.
But
okay.
that's the thing. That's the thing people got to realize, though, is that the games that we're creating cannot be played on any other system. And the reason why we created it exclusively for the Amico, we've been waiting for a system like this to come out. We've been talking about doing Earthworm Jim games reunion for 10 years now. You've
Yep.
heard me talk about it before, right?
Yep.
But there was never been a system that's been able and capable to do what we want to do with this next game, and now there finally is. So again, this game that we're doing, it can't be ported on any other system.
Awesome. Okay, so all systems are good. Everything is coming together the way that you want to. You announced the launch date for this machine as next year, sort of holiday.
2020.
Okay, 10/10/2020. That's great.
You heard us say it first, because if Sony or Microsoft comes in and steals that date, you know who they copied.
10/10/2020. And what's the price going to be?
$179 retail.
179 retail, 2 controllers, and a game, a pack-in game.
How about 5?
5 pack-in games, access to a lot of classic content. And is there going to be, have you announced any, is it going to be physical releases as well as digital, or just digital?
We haven't announced that yet, but I'll put it to you this way. When Google and our buddy Phil Harrison made his announcement about Stadia, read all the comments that people were saying. They were like, we don't want this. We like physical media. We like physical media. So let's just say that you'll have both options on our system. I'll leave it at that. But we're doing it in a way that no one has ever done it before. It's so revolutionary. That's why I can't tell you about it right now. We've patented so much stuff. It's crazy.
It's not a shock to think that video gamers and hardcore gamers would roll their eyes or be skeptical, and there's been lots of precedent for people to automatically think that this won't work. But
yes.
And I'm sure you've heard all of that. But what I want to hear from is like, have you talked to people that aren't in video games, like media that's not in video games?
Oh my God! You kidding
that
me?
is incredibly excited, or like,
Look, you have to understand, everybody is. When people sit down and hear the real pitch of all the things that we can't say publicly, there's not a single person, I don't care a hardcore or not, that doesn't absolutely fall in love with all of the things that we're accomplishing and that we're going to do. All I can say is there's a title, the tide is rising, and there's a tidal wave coming. Think about this for a second, Vic. Remember back in the day, again, when we were reviewing games, remember all the kind of the games that were for like younger kids, like THQ would have like the SpongeBob license or the Incredibles, and there was EA.
Tack and the Power of Juju.
Remember? Well, that was one of your favorites.
I love that game.
But remember, like EA Kids had a division, Take-Two had a family division. Remember all that?
Yes.
Yeah. Where are they now? There's not a single company that is focused on creating games for kids, and I'm talking like 6 to 8 year olds.
Kids don't have credit cards for games as service, I think, is what it is.
Well, the deal is that we're going to change all that, right? Where Nintendo, the NES in 1985, they captured young kids because there was nothing else really out there in 85 that was new, and now they've built a whole brand of the millennial generation is brand loyal to Nintendo for the rest of their lives, right?
Right. My favorite game of the year, actually, I want to stop you there for a second, is Yoshi's Crafted World, which is
I haven't even played that yet.
It's an amazing game, and it's a masterpiece. It's just a beautiful love letter to the Yoshi brand, but it's just all about creativity.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. I played it with my kid, and it's just magic.
And so that's the thing, is that there's not even companies around that were like they were in the mid-90s that were focused on that kind of material. So again, when we start releasing who our licensors are and the licenses that we have exclusively, people are going to start to take us more and more seriously every single time, So every press release. But again, we have a long way to go. We're still a year and 4 months away from launch, and we're jumping the gun a little early here, and my marketing and PR team hate me every time I talk about this stuff.
Giving them a heart attack. But let's break down a couple more things that are a part of this equation. Intellivision is paying for the development of its games.
That's right.
And you're curating every game that's going on the thing, so it's not going to be an open the floodgates and everybody's dog eat dog for themselves. You're taking care of it.
That's right, and you're talking about 40 to 50 games on launch.
Wow. But Intellivision is paying for them, and then what's your rollout going to be? Month to month. What are you planning?
We're going to have a new game every week.
One new game every week, or a couple?
Yes. No. See, that's one of the things about Intellivision is we're never going to release 2 games at the same time, ever.
Wow.
So what that means for a developer is when their game comes out, boom, every single person who turns it on, it is the featured game, and and that is a space that's not for sale.
Wow.
I don't care if you're EA or some dorm room developer that's come up with a great idea. You're going to get the spotlight for that week, and that's why we're give me some more claps for that.
Woo! All right, so I have a suggestion for you, because I've become addicted to Super Nintendo and Genesis games with the analogs Mega, SG, and the Super NT. There's all of these superhero games that were made back in the day that we've all moved on from.
Like Superman on the N64?
Well, no, that they went to 3D and then it became tougher. But the 2D ones, a lot of them were just beat 'em ups. But there's a lot of great titles in there, like Mutant Apocalypse, the X-Men game, and Spider-Man on the Sega Genesis, and Capcom made a bunch. Can you either work with these comic book companies and make some more 2D scrolling superhero titles, like the old X-Men arcade game?
Already happening, yes. For sure.
Yes.
And the other thing to understand, too, I think that's important we have a 4-prong approach to our software. So although a lot of people in the media have tagged us as a retro console, they're like, they're just going to do retro games and reimagine retro games. I got to tell you, that is only 25% of our launch titles. See, we have a 4-prong approach. 25% is redoing all the classic games, and we went out and we got everything, all the licenses from asteroids to Missile Command to Pong to Tempest to Centipede, Moon Patrol, Burger Time.
Robotron?
We're working on that one. We don't have that one done yet.
Midway, like people are sleeping on Midway games, man.
I know.
Make us a good Defender and make us a good Robotron.
We're in discussions now.
Cool.
But that's only 25% of our library. Another 25% of our library is sports and recreation. So not only baseball, football, soccer, but bowling and fishing and pool and shuffleboard and skiing
you and fishing games.
You love it.
I cannot believe we're still talking fishing game. You made me review so many fishing games over the years.
I tell you what, if your grandfather was still alive and he walked into your house, ask him if he wants to play the fishing game or your stupid Yoshi game. And see which one he'd ask, see which one he'd pick. But anyway, so 25% sports and recreation. Another 25% is original IPs.
Yeah.
And these are all games that cannot be played, completely new. And when you see them, you're going to be crying, laughing. You're going to have so much fun with these at E3. And then the fourth thing is board games / card games / TV shows. So things like Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Monopoly, Telestrations, word games, crossword puzzles, Match 3, Yahtzee, Farkle, all these kind of, super fun, casual multiplayer games as well. So that's
awesome.
really, so don't think of it as a retro machine. A lot of people are pegging it for that. But because of the name, I guess, and everything. But again, it's only 25% of our library. It's a full-on machine, and we know what we're focused. We know exactly what we're targeting and
awesome.
who we're targeting.
Okay, I want to talk some more about some other things real quick here, but let's wrap up the Intellivision with the last question. So a lot of it is going to be behind closed doors at E3, but are you guys planning any kind of media burst about anything, a video or anything that's going to for E3? So there'll be some surprises. Yes. Yes.
There's going to be some visual surprises. Absolutely.
Okay, so you can't tell us anything because you'll spoil the surprise.
Yeah. But there's something big coming, and then you'll see it.
Okay,
call me later tonight. I'll tell you what it is.
Okay, I'll call you, but it'll be a live Skype chat with. No, I won't. All right, so we're gonna pause it right there. But people are gonna know a lot more about Intellivision in just a couple weeks.